Tony, it's really good to have you here. For everyone who doesn't know Tony yet, he's one of the best salespeople I know in NEMT. I was catching up with him earlier this month. He was like, "Oh, I started this new role. In my first 4 days, I've already got 5 contracts." And I said, "Tony, you've gotta like come on the webinar with Duet and tell us all about how you do it, because I got so many people asking me, how do I pick up these NEMT facility contracts?" Um, so Tony, maybe you could just tell us a little bit about sort of, your background and sort of how you got to the point of just like, closing contracts like this.
Sure. So thank you, Mr. James, and hello, everyone. My name is Antonio Jackson. I go by Tony for short. I started doing NEMT at age 19 when I got out of high school. I worked for a major market here in Orlando, Florida, where we deal with paratransit through the local transit company, the city bus. And then they say, hey, you know what? We're going to start off with paratransit. So I started off as a customer service agent, just answering phone calls. Within 6 months, I was a customer service manager. Within another 6 months, because hey, we brought on 6 different companies to perform paratransit for this organization. I'm like, okay. They were like, well, it's going to be about 4,000 trips, and we're going to put you over each individual company. And I'm looking to myself like, I'm 19 years old. What you want me to go over, be over 19? I mean, all these companies and 3,000 trips. Like, yeah, you can do it. So I'm like, okay. Um, so we dealt at the time. They dealt with ambulatory and wheelchairs, so they was dealing with the Medicaid Sunshine contract. So they put me in charge of compliance to make sure all the vehicle was up to compliance, and make sure the drivers had the compliance of CPR and pass and basic driver experience. So I did that for about 10 years. Then I moved on. One of the carriers said, hey, we want to bring you on as our general manager. So I left the organization as a general manager. And then that's when I really got into it. I'm seeing the wheelchair securement, like, hey, this wheelchair, why are you guys tying the wheelchairs through the wheels? Why is this securement is on something that be detached? That's not safe. Then I realized, let me just go to school for this. So I worked there for a time, went to school, got all the knowledge. Um, at the time, CTAA reached out to me and said, hey, we want you to be one of the national trainers. We're going to send you around the United States to train people properly on how to secure wheelchairs. Um, so I did that for about 10 years, got into another company, and they were like, oh, okay, we'll make you this general manager. So I'm like, okay, what you got going on? Well, we do stretchers. Do you have certification? No. Okay, let's get you certified. Went to school, EMS school, got certified as an EMS stretcher. So now I go around and train different companies on how to do proper procedures on to do stretchers along with wheelchair securement. Um, then I just started getting into sales, which I know nothing about sales. I'll be honest with you. I just run my mouth. But then I realized, I
I
realized,
don't believe you, Tony.
yeah, I realized people listen to me like, oh, you just got that aura that you can convince anybody. Like, I don't want to say I convince anybody, but I know what I'm talking about. So I've been in this role now for another 15, 20 years. So it's been 35 years I've been in the business. I just moved on to another company, and they was like, hey, we have about $100,000 out that we need to get back in. We had all these nursing facilities that owe us money. Can you help us? Okay, great. First 3 days of working, I collected $60,000 of back pay.
Wow.
Um, then I'm like, you know what? If you're gonna be in this area, you need contracts. They go, can you get them? Sure. Went to the local hospitals, looked into the local for nursing and rehab facilities, gave them a contract. This is what we can do. Um, can you accept our terms? They said, oh no, we can do this, we can do that. So we're going back and forth with the numbers and the pricing, and we both got what we wanted. So
Mm.
within the first week, I signed a contract for this company, 3 different contracts that's going to bring in about $1.2 million a year.
Wow.
And that's where I am now.
That's incredible. Um, So actually, this is not a webinar about recovering money owed to NEMT companies, but just curious before we get into the winning facility contract side, how did you get in the $60,000?
Well, it's all about who you talk to. When you're dealing with nursing and rehabs, you don't want to deal with the BOM, the business office manager. All they do is they just submit the invoice and send up to corporate. So you have to get corporate's information. So I got corporate information, made a quick phone call, said, hey, we don't want to cut off your service, but you will be cut off, and these patients can't get to their doctor's appointment until you pay your bill.
Hmm.
And not saying it was intimidating, but it was the truth. You don't
Oh,
want to, hey, you got to pay your bill. I mean, you get money from these companies, these insurance companies. These people are paying $4,000 a month to stay there. You should be afraid to pay your bill. And
mhm.
when I made that statement, all of a sudden the ACH started coming in. Oh, okay, there you go. Hey, there you go. Great.
Yeah, I see. Well, it makes sense to me. I learned something new. So question, thinking about facilities versus brokers, you're a big fan of facility contracts. Why is that? Why
Yes.
do you prefer them?
Um, Brokers, you are at the mercy of brokers. Brokers say, hey, we charging you, we're giving you $35 a wheelchair. Take it or leave it. Because they have to make money on their end as well. Facility is different. Facility, you have the power because you're going in and saying, I will provide you A plus service with stretcher, wheelchair. We can provide oxygen. We can do bariatric. We can do trach patients. When they hear that, that is a service that you're giving them, and then that's when you can charge a premium rate for it. You're not going to go overboard, but you have to charge what you're worth. So when you say things like you have those oxygen, you have the Brody chair, you have you have a EMT on board. If you don't, that's fine. That if your patient is a trach patient, they love to hear that. So
Hmm.
now they're going, okay, well, you're charging me blah 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 for this amount, and I'm getting this amount from each patient. So you're getting what you want. So you're not overcharging them, and they like to hear that. And then also when you tell them, I'll give you a 30-day net pay. They love to hear this. 30-day net, and I'm gonna give you a 15-day grace. So that's 45 days.
No.
So they love to hear, oh, I got 45 days to pay $30,000. Yes. But when you pass that 45 days, you got to make sure I put it in big, bold letters. I'm going to charge you 18% per day on the 46th day. So they don't want to, oh, I want to pay that late fee. You give them those 45 days. Perfect. Let's do this.
Got it. So, we're all familiar with nursing homes and certain other sort of obvious potential customers. What in your experience has been the best customers, including some you might not think of in terms of facilities to work with?
Um, I think the best facilities to work with, my opinion, is the rehab
Mm,
because they're only there for 30 days. So when you get that patient from the hospital as a new admission, you are familiar with that patient. If that patient is coming from the hospital and say, hey, they have a broken hip, and now you brought them to the facility know who you are, and now that patient has to go back for follow-ups, they don't want to call another company because now you're familiar with that patient. So your job is that patient, it should be the VIP. That patient should come inside that facility and say, oh my God, I had a great ride with Tony. Oh, he talked to me. We have so much in common about where we're from. When the facility and administrators and the DON hears that, oh, you know what? It's less stress. Let's use Tony again and take this patient to their dialysis or take them to their doctor's appointment. And that's really how you get your foot in the door.
mm, that makes total sense. Anyone besides rehab that you think is worth specifically targeting?
Hospitals.
Mm,
So this is the way to get in hospitals because the hospital will lose money after 15 days that a patient is in that bed. So when they discharge that patient, you know, they're getting more money for the new patient to come in because they get a certain amount for the first 15 days. After that 15 days, that amount gets cut in half. So now they're losing money. So when you go in and speak to these case managers to present your company, you want to make sure that you going in, you tell them, hey, I can do stretcher transport, I can do discharges in wheelchairs. I can give you a 2-hour turnaround. That is the magic number because EMS gives them a 3 to 4 hour turnaround. You want to go in and say, I can give you a 2-hour turnaround. If you do it at 1 hour, kudos to you. 2 hours is what they want to hear. So when you go and get these case managers on your side, and I will share with you how to get case managers to call you, it's something really simple. It works for me every time on every hospital I go to. It's great because the hospitals pay you in 15 days instead of the 30 to 45. So you want to get involved with the hospitals as much as you can.
What is your secret for getting case managers to call you? I think we're all thinking it.
Food. All right. I will go. I just left a hospital, 5 case managers right now. I just went in. I went in with 2 dozen donuts and Dunkin' Donuts big buck jug of coffee. Oh, you didn't have to do this. You know what? I did. I just want to make sure that, hey, you guys are fed. Or then every once a month, you just go to with some cookies. I go to Publix and get the cookie tote, which is $13. $13 for 50 cookies, ladies and gentlemen. Take it up to the case managers and let the case managers share it with the nursing staff.
Mm.
Now you see a note saying, hey, this was brought in by Tony, NEMT service. Now the nurses are going to call you. Hey, I need transportation because they know, listen, this guy going out of his way giving these cookies, once a month. And he's coming in here checking and say, hey, I'm calling every day. You got anything pending? I have somebody that can be there in 1 hour. I have somebody standing by. They love to hear that.
Mm.
So that'll eliminate them calling 5 different other companies saying, oh, let me get your quote. What is your turnaround time to do this? So when you call every day, once in the morning, and then the peak time is 3 o'clock. Call it 3 o'clock. Keep all the fresh minds involved. You'll be involved in every hospital you can think of.
That's really good advice, Tony. Thanks for sharing that. Is there any sort of similar tricks to winning over sort of the key person of contact over at a rehab facility?
With the rehab facility, I think I learned to. I have another one at 1 o'clock. I got to go to. You go
Uh-huh.
in, and remember, you don't want to deal with the administrator, not just yet. You want to start off in admissions. Okay. You want to go in and say, hey, can I speak to your admission director? If they're not available, say, hey, can I just drop a card? Can I just go by and tell them, hey, who I am? Sure. Once you get in there, have all your marketing material with you. You don't have to speak much. You go in and say, hey, my name is Tony. I'm with ABC Non-Emergency Medical Transport. Here's our brochures. Here's our price list. I would love to be a backup. That's the key word. Backup vendor for your transportation needs. Because if you go in there cocky saying, I want to be your main person, they're going to go, who is this guy? What makes you so special? But when you go in, you say backup, and then they start using you because they see the main company's running behind, and now you're going to go in and shine as a backup. A couple more weeks, you're the main person.
Couple more weeks.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. What if they say like, "Hey, Tony, I'm very happy with my current provider. I don't need anyone else."
You say the same thing. Well, that's fine. I don't
Mhm.
want to come in and take over your main company. I just want to let you know that we're here for you and your needs. By the way, here's a pen, here's a notepad. See, that's the marketing material. Now, every time they write on that pen and notepad, they see your company name. Like, oh, wait a minute. This guy came here last time. I got his pad here. So
Mhm.
you try to drop off as much as you can. It may take a couple days, may take a couple weeks, but then once they say, hey, what is your contract rates? That's when you go with your contract. That's when you bring goodies. That's when you say, hey, I would like to set up a meeting with you, your administrator, and all your admission staff. Now you have everybody in the room who you need to talk to. Because remember, the administrator is the one who signs off. So if the administrator says, oh, well, the current company we're having right now, we're doing $85 a wheelchair and $2.95 a mile. What are your rates? Oh, my rates are $70, and the first 5 miles is no charge, and our rates is $2 a mile. Now you know what the other competition is giving them
Hmm.
because they're volunteering that information to you. So that's how you go in. Well, hey, this is what we charge, and you go from there.
Uh-huh. So it sounds like the goal is to just get in front of them and then have them ask you for a contract. Am I
There you
understanding
go.
that right?
Yes, yes. Because you have already done your part. You drop off your marketing materials. You've been wooing over the admission. You have been even if the hospital pays for a trip that's going to that certain facility, you go back into that admissions office and say, hey, I did drop off a patient, even though that you guys didn't pay for it, but the hospital paid for it. So if the hospital trusts me, you should trust me.
That's a good point about the hospital. So there's some synergy in working with both of them.
Yes.
Okay, and thinking about pricing, like maybe you know the competitor pricing, maybe you don't. Do you ever sort of say, hey, I'm going to give you a big discount the first month or two to sort of prove my worth, or how do you think about pricing?
I suggest never to do that because now you may be cutting yourself short. Um, this is how I do it, and a lot of other companies I work with have done it. They have called other companies and said, hey, what is your rates? And they get their rates. Now you're not undercutting them. You can go with the same rates as you're getting and just go to that facility because maybe that facility, yeah, they're using this certain company, but they're unhappy. Maybe
Hmm.
the drivers are coming in with their shirt untucked. The drivers are coming in looking like they just rolled out of bed. The drivers are coming in, they're not clean shaved. They got dirty shoes. But your company got matching outfits from the shirt to shoes and pants. Blue shirt, black pants, black shoes. Everybody's matching. That is something you throw at them. Look, we come in professional. We're not this company that's so big that the drivers don't care and nobody's checking on them. That's how you go and you just, hey, our rates are $200, even though it's a little high, but this is what you get. We have ACA background check. Then you started naming stuff because not everybody used the national background check of ACA because that eliminates a whole lot of headaches in the in the ground. You tell them, hey, I do fingerprints. We do defensive driving training. Most companies don't do that. So you're telling them what you're giving your staff, and then that's what's telling you why the price is what the price is.
So you come in and kind of justifying why you're a premium service. That makes
Correct.
sense. Um, is it important to bring your vehicle with you, like a maybe nice, clean, modern vehicle with a wrap,
Yes.
and show it off? Do people often say, "Hey, can I see your vehicle?"
Yes, you show up in a company vehicle.
Mhm.
I always tell companies that I work with, come in with your best vehicle. I don't care if you don't have stretcher work. Come in with that stretcher van that shows that you have a combo of a stretcher and a wheelchair. Bring that lift down. Make sure look, we have video monitoring. That's very important because they want to see that. They be like, why is video monitoring? Well, we want to make sure your patient is safe back there. We want to make sure that if your patient is a Baker Act, which sometimes you will get, this
Mhm.
patient takes off their seatbelt, they on video camera. You see all of that. And that also will save you in a lawsuit because you do get patients, and I may go on off topic, that you put them in a wheelchair and they have a broken leg and you turn them and put them the right way and strap them down and you never bump their leg, but they go, oh, you hit my leg, now it's worse. That video camera is going to save you
Mhm.
$150,000.
Oh yeah, for sure. And so, okay, so let's say we've gotten in, we're the backup provider. How do you think about going from the backup provider to the primary provider? How do you win more share of that facility's business?
Your customer service. You will ask the patient if they're able, hey, can you give us a Google review? All right, have a QR code on your van on a piece of paper, have them scan it with their phone. You know, 9 times out of 10, a loved one is going to come with you in transport. Have the loved one do it. So now you go to the facilities and you tell the loved one, hey, could you do us a favor? Would you share your experience with the facility on how great this reputation was? So now they're telling the staff on how nice everybody was, how the
Mm,
vehicle cleanness was. That goes back to the admissions and the administrator, because all they want is the customer happy. All right. And then every once in a while, come by the facility. Hey, we was in the area. Did you have anything for us? Oh, we didn't, but since you're available, no, now we do. Here you go. Thank you. Now
mm.
you're getting a trip. They'll tell you, oh, this company's running late. I'm so glad you popped in to say hello. Could you take this patient to dialysis? Sure, but I want them late. And by the way, can we do the return? Yeah, of course. That's how you win them over.
So you're literally picking, either picking up the phone and calling and saying like, hey, how's it going? I have a vehicle, outside if you need a ride, or you're stopping in yourself personally to say
Correct.
the same thing.
Correct. Yes.
And does that always have to be you as the owner or the general manager, or can it be can an experienced driver take on that role?
I have the dispatcher's call
Hmm.
to tell them we have open availability. Or if I have a driver, hey, are you free? Yes. Go by the facility and just go in and say, hey, if you guys need any help, I'm available and I'll be parked outside. And then
Hmm.
that front desk will let them know that, hey, this person been sitting here for 30 minutes or late. NMT is sitting outside. Can we give it to them? Yes. Go ahead.
Hmm. Okay, so it's a mix. The drivers go in person when they have a free moment. The dispatchers when they have a free moment, they give a call.
Correct.
Um, Marsha had a question here about what is it? You're sort of asking how you get payment if you don't have an invoice or an agreement.
Okay. So let's say, Ms. Marsha, they call your company and say, hey, I need you to take this patient to the ER, and you don't have a contract. So this is what you would do. You would say, okay, I will do it. I need a administrator or a DON to send me an email, and the email must state, I, XY, know the name, is responsible for Mrs. James transportation on this date. That
Mhm.
is a certified document that you will get paid.
Great. And yeah, feel free to drop more questions in here. I'll try to get to them as we go through, and we'll also have some time at the end for more questions. Um, yeah, so I think we talked a bit about sort of providing really good service, being really professional. What is it, how important is sort of and maybe this is a question about hospitals specifically, I'm curious. I've heard people say like, hey, if you come in and you take those difficult hospital discharge cases, someone who maybe they're like, uh, they're going to a homeless shelter, or they are, Baker Act, sort of like maybe a little sort of have behavioral challenges, and the hospital sort of is having trouble getting a ride for them, or maybe it's a long trip in the middle of the night and like nobody else wants to take it. Obviously, like we as providers maybe don't necessarily want all those trips, but is it important to take all the trips in order to sort of build a good relationship with the care manager? Or is that not something you worry about so much?
Correct. The only trips that you should deny if you think this patient is a danger to your drivers. Okay. If they're Baker acted and they go into a Baker behavior unit, 10 out of 10 times they have already been sedated. So don't be afraid to take Baker Act patients. To be honest, Baker Act patient pays more. Okay. Because you need two people, you put them on a stretcher, and now you can charge a premium rate of that. So whatever your base rate is, you can add an additional $100 for a Baker Act, and hospitals will pay it. Um, I have had a patient recently that 325 pounds live on the fourth floor, no elevator.
Oof.
And I know the trick around it, and I will share it with everyone. If you ever get someone that says, hey, they live on the third floor, they don't have stairs, can you take it? Say yes. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because you can charge triple the price for that. So you can say, hey, if a trip is $250, okay, but the stairs and all of this, the price is going to be $625. Hospital just want them out. Okay, boom, you get them out. Once you get to the home, this is very important. You're going to dial the non-emergency number, and you're going to say, I need the fire department. You get the fire department. You're going to say, I need a assist to lift. That's very important to say that, assist to lift. Fire departments are trained to take people upstairs. That's part of their job. That if somebody physically cannot walk upstairs, they will take them upstairs. You say assist to lift, they won't send the ambulance out. They'll send only the fire truck with 6 or 8 strong guys, and they'll take them off your stretcher, put them on a certain chair, and take them upstairs, and there's no charge for that.
Oh, that's nice. And Jing here asks, what's the typical payment term with facility? You said you do net 30 with a 15-day grace period. Is
Correct.
that true for all the facilities?
That's all, because they're not going to pay you in 30 days. It might be 32, 35, but if you give them that 15-day grace period, you'll get your money. You'll get your money in about 45 days.
Mm-hmm.
And then as that first payment come through and that's going through, you're not going to wait 45. It's going to be the 30. And then if you do your invoices every 2 weeks, you'll get paid in 30 days.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of waiting for the 30 days and pay it and then send the invoices. No, first half, the first to the 15th, send your invoices. 16th from the 30th, send another invoice. So as you're going through, your money start coming in, every 15 to 20 days.
In 20 days. Yeah.
Makes sense. And then Jing also asks, what are the key terms in the contract to pay attention to?
Well, you're gonna have to every contract you're gonna have to put attorney fees. Facilities don't like it, but if in case you have to sue to get your money, you really have to put the key factor is that the facility or the management company has to pay the attorney fees. So that'll be included, in the settlement. I only had to sue, well, I did in the company that they walked me in on it. We only had to sue one company, and it was for $70,000, but we end up getting 150,000 because it took so long, and then the attorney fees, and then as soon as they paid it, a week later, hey, can you start up again doing transportation with us?
Wow.
Like,
Yeah.
you just paid me 150,000. Sure, that's okay. Sign
Yeah,
this contract.
let's go. Wow, that's incredible.
So
Oh
that's the
dear.
key points. Make sure that's in there, and also make sure you put your price list, so there's no discrepancies on what you're charging them. Make sure you put that in your contract, and also you put in your contract your evacuation agreement. Okay, facilities, hospitals love to see evacuation agreement. And remember, your evacuation agreement is an upcharge of 300%, because now you're putting your drivers at danger in a hurricane, going and getting people out of the facility that's going to be flooded, taking them somewhere else. So like here in Florida, I did one last year. We charged $1,000 for every wheelchair and $2,000 for every stretcher. And we had 135 stretchers and 250 wheelchairs.
Wow.
Lord.
The facility doesn't pay that. Guess who pays that?
Ooh.
The state. The
State.
state.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's an emergency evacuation. Facilities don't care. They go, hey, I'm bringing this guy in. This way he wants. We ain't got to pay it. The state pays it.
Mm.
State paid us in 60 days.
Nice. Pretty good for 300%.
Oh yes.
Then in terms of working with facilities, both hospitals or sort of rehab, nursing home, et cetera, what level of insurance is typically required?
Well, everyone is different. In Florida, you got to have $1 million coverage. So 1 million PI liability, 2 million aggravated. So that'll save you. It's expensive in Florida because $1 million coverage will run you about $1,400 to $1,500 per van.
Mm-hmm.
But you can get one stretcher van, and I've seen a guy who I worked with before. One stretcher van. He got the $1 million coverage. His insurance was $1,100. I said, you follow my lead, I will make you $1 million in 1 year. He ended up netting, not gross, netting, bringing home 950,000 for the year. So he had already grossed over $1 million, but after he paid his expenses and taxes and all of that, he had 950,000 in his bank account.
Wow, that's fantastic.
That's on one van.
Wow. Yeah, and actually, I think related question from Mario, does it make sense to start with brokers or should you just forget it and go straight to facilities?
I will go directly to facilities. Brokers is great if you can get volume. They're gonna lowball you for the price. But if you see that you're not getting volume, let's say that you want to make sure what your average is going to be. So if you are a new company starting off and you have a wheelchair van and a stretcher van, your wheelchair van should make $500 a day. I don't care where you are. Your stretcher van should make 1,000 a day. Anything above that is straight up profit for you. So if you think the broker is going to give you $500 worth of wheelchairs in one day, I doubt it. Facilities, yes, because you can charge a higher rate.
Hmm. So zooming out a little bit, how do I, let's say actually I'm on the software side, but let's say I was a provider trying to, get my business going. How do I make a list of like all the facilities that could be good candidates for me to show up at in my area?
Well, you can go to the national database of ACA. ACA will give you every nursing, rehab,
Cool.
hospital
How do we
in your
spell that?
area.
Let's put that in chat.
Oh my God, I think it's AH. It's short for America. I forgot what it's going for. I'm sorry. What happened? Did I leave you here? I had
Hmm?
a call. I had a call coming in. I'm sorry. Yeah, you can get a database, or you can do it a simple way. Whatever city you in, just punch in on Google nursing home and rehabs. It'll bring up a whole list.
Okay, so the two ways are either you go and you track down a government database of facilities, which was the AH something or other.
Hmm.
I'll take a look at that later, or just scroll through Google, look
Correct.
for all the
And
rehab facilities, all the
correct.
hospitals, all the nursing homes.
Yeah, because brokers gonna use you. Brokers gonna be like, hey, I got this new company. They probably don't know. I'm gonna give them $35 a wheelchair, even though they're making 150.
Got it. Oh, Howard,
So,
thank you. Howard dropped the link there.
oh, you did? Okay, great.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how you get your national database with all stuff in your area. Um, I suggest the number one thing, if you want to start off slow, I would start off going through workman's comp. Okay. If you go through a workman's comp provider and you get your feet wet, that's the first part. That's how you're gonna get your feet wet of how am I doing? Am I doing this correctly? Is I'm strapping this wheelchair down correctly? Because they're most of the times they can walk. And then when you build your confidence up, now you go to the facility. You say, hey, you want to be that backup. You go to the hospital, hey, I want to be a provider. And then you go to your local mode of care, safe ride, um, MTM, access to America. Then you go to the broker and say, hey, Allevi, I want to be a broker. I want to be your vendor, and then let them feed you. So the broker stuff will keep you from being completely dead. So if you're slow on the hospital side and slow on the facility side, you fill in those gaps with the broker work. And remember, the broker, you choose what you want to take.
Mhm. So
You don't
you
have
think of
to.
it as more you try to build your schedule with facility trips, and then when you have gaps in your schedule, you might pull in some broker trips to fill those.
Correct. Yes.
Got it. I think that's a great way to look at it. So when working with facilities and trying to win new facilities, how important is word of mouth from the other facilities in your area?
100% better because remember, management companies own more than one facility. If you're doing good in this facility and they have a sister facility 2 miles down the road, 3 miles down the road, hey, I use this company. Why don't you use? The administrators talk to each other. They call morning meetings, stand up meetings, and then stand down meetings. So they share information. And then once you get in with the sister facility, you can make a easy phone call, um, easy phone call to their corporate office and say, hey, I want to be a vendor of all your facilities.
Hmm, I see. And when obviously looking professional is important, having the writers give you good reviews and tell people about you is important. What about is showing up on time? How much of a window do you have to be late for these things? What sort of percentage are you trying to hit in terms of on time?
Well, you want to be above 60% on time performance. That'll keep you in good standing with everyone.
You say
If
60%?
60, yes, 60,
Okay, that's not
60%.
that high in the grand scheme of things.
Correct. Because if you're going to run late at a hospital discharge, call the hospital, let the bedside nurse know. Because
Mhm.
you don't want the hospital to call the facility.
Right. Uh-huh.
So that's how you eliminate the facility going, oh, I had a 4 o'clock pickup and they're calling me, it's 5:30, you're not here. But the bedside nurse already knows, so they're not going to call the facility.
Mm.
They're aware that, hey, you ran into traffic, it's raining, you'll be there.
Uh-huh. And what sort of like window are you trying to shoot for in terms of being on time? Is it like within 15 minutes or
Yes,
literally before the start date?
15 to 30 minute window.
Okay.
Yeah, in that window, you're not late. When you get an hour, you're late.
Okay. So you're quoting, hey, I'll pick them up between 3 and 3:30 or something.
Correct, yes.
Okay. And then that makes sense. Got it. Um, let's see, anything else that really helps you sort of expand once you've gotten into your first couple of facilities?
I'm gonna say this, what really helped me is, and I told all my clients, don't lie. Be very upfront with them. If you can't do this, tell them you can't do this. Because nothing is bad when they catch you into a lie and they'll never trust you again. If you say, hey, I can do 20 and you know you can only do 10, tell them I can only do 10 trips a day. Because now if they give you 20 and you can't keep up, they're never going to use you again. So be honest and be upfront.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. And then one other thing I wanted to ask about, we talked about rehab facilities, about hospitals. Are there any other sort of big categories of facilities that you think about and that you handle differently?
Uh, I would just no, that's about it. Because hospital and facilities aren't going to pay your bills.
Mhm.
Once you get in, getting good with them, and then remember, let's say it's a hospital called ACA. Once you're in one ACA, you in all of them. So you're in their database. So you may be ACA in Atlanta, you got a contract with, but you in Florida, they put you up in the database, you already have an agreement. So you can do the same thing. So I think the hospitals and rehabs and nursing rehabs is the way to go. Brokers, yes, brokers need non-emergency companies, but you understand you're not going to get the rates you're wanting from brokers.
Mhm. Got it. And I've selfishly got my own question here. As one of the co-founders of Duet, doing dispatching software, I'm curious how you think about dispatching software when managing your operations and trying to sort of, be on time, deliver good service. Like at what size of fleet do you think people should start looking at some sort of technology to help with the booking, scheduling, dispatching?
If you have 5 or more vehicles, you need a software. One vehicle I seen companies use WhatsApp, they text everything to the drivers,
Mhm.
which I literally lose my mind because what if the driver loses the phone and now you giving all this HIPAA information out, and I hate that. I think even with one vehicle you should have a software because it's easier to track your work, and it's also you can go and send your invoices through the software company you're using.
Mhm. Yeah, that's one thing we got early feedback on, and we made a little invoice thing so you can have your logo, professional info, and you send a nice invoice out with all the information that a particular facility requested. Because different facilities might have very different bits of information about the trip each one wants to see, and you don't want to data dump sort of stuff they don't want.
Correct. That's right. So yeah, users, it's a lot of software companies out there, just use them. It's there for your help. They're gonna help you, and then you don't have to worry about answering the phone. You don't have to worry about, oh, did I send his invoice? Let the software companies help you through that.
Mhm. Great. And then Tony, I want to ask, you're obviously, you're an operator, but also I understand you do coaching, you do help people, with sales and such. Could you tell us a little bit about sort of, if I want to, have you help me, what's the best way, like what sort of things can you do and what's the best way to reach out to you?
It's my email is the best way to get a hold of me, and then myself and my partner will go out. We'll look at your organization and say, okay, what do you need help on? You need help in contracting? Do you have a policy and procedure manual, or you don't have that? Okay, let's write you one, because most companies don't have that. So when you're dealing with nursing homes and rehab, they want to know you have a policy and procedure, meaning it can be anything as of no smoking in the vehicle. That's a policy and procedure.
Mhm.
You know, things like that. You got to have that to start off with. And that's how you do your training with your drivers. Um, I help. I used to do more of getting contracts, but in different states, it's different qualifications. So
Mm.
it's longer. So I try to pull back of getting contracts, but I'll help you point you in the right direction on the right lead to get you that contract. If you, I'll have you go there, say, hey, I'll make the phone calls for you. Hey, I spoke to Miss Marsha. She's the administrator. Guess what? She loves Krispy Kreme donuts. Make sure you bring Krispy Kreme donuts. Miss Marsha's favorite color is red. Wear something red, you know, and make sure she knows that, hey, you know, it's great eye contact. So I will
Mm.
help you walk you through that.
Okay, great. And so people can reach out to you. We'll drop your email into the chat here, and also I'll put it in the video description once I upload it.
Okay.
All right, so let's with that, let's Tony, anything else you want to add, and then let's take some questions.
No, that's about it. Cause I know that my time is about ready getting up.
Great. So
But yeah.
we've got a question from Mario and then Jing. Mario, does the year and model of your vehicle matter a lot?
Yes. Anything. You don't want nothing less than 10 years old because now that's going to put
You mean
more
more than
pressure.
10 years old?
I mean more than 10 years old. I'm sorry. That's going to put pressure on you on maintenance because you don't know if you got a 2015 vehicle and it's 2025 and that vehicle already have 100,000 miles. That's going to be a money pit for you. Okay. My suggestion is I go through and I send everybody through Sunset Vans. Sunset Vans is out of California. They don't pull your credit. They only do your business credit. If you say, hey, I have $500 to put down, they're going to take that $500 and say, hey, we're going to give you a 2022 Ford Transit combo with the wheelchair and a stretcher. It's going to be $80,000. Here's your payment. They're going to tell you what your payment is going to be. They say if you want to put down more, you put down more. But to me, you always want a newer van to start off. Yeah, it's a little pricey, but it's less maintenance and it's under warranty.
Hmm. So is the sweet spot then like, a 3-year-old van?
Yes, that's fine. A 3-year-old van is fine. My preferred van is the Ford Transits. If you're doing stretchers, if you're doing a wheelchair, you do the oh my God, we just picked up a 2025. What is it? The Chrysler Voyager.
Hmm.
That's big, is roomy. It holds 2 wheelchairs. It has it can hold oxygen in the back. It holds a video camera, and the maintenance is easy. And you can get a 2021 I saw the other day for $35,000 with 30,000 miles on it.
Not bad. Great. And then Jing had a question about auto insurance. Like, do you ever work with auto insurance in the same way that you might work with workers' comp?
Um, yeah, I think if you do, I call them ambulance chasers, these lawyers, because you can get a contract with auto insurance companies that somebody's involved with an accident they're trying to settle in court, and you're taking that patient to court every day. That's
Mm.
big money. That's big money, but it's not really often that they will use you, to be honest. Workman's comp, nursing and rehabs, hospitals, some brokers, I won't say all, but some brokers. And if you can get in with air ambulance, which is one call medical. If you get in with one call medical, you are golden because you can make $1,000 taking somebody from the hospital to go 4 miles and put them on a plane.
Oh, that's nice. Great. Okay. And Tony, do you want me to share your Gmail address, or you have another email
Yes.
you'd rather post in
Yeah,
chat? Okay.
the Gmail is fine.
Okay. So I'm going to put Tony's email in here. Feel free to reach out to him with, questions, comments, 5-star reviews, whatever you want. I'll also drop duetinc.com is, the website of us. We do, booking, scheduling, dispatching, and billing and invoicing software for growing NEMT services. Jing is asking, Tony, when are you going to do a workshop?
I just did one here in Orlando. We brought about 20 people, 20 companies down. We did a 2-day workshop. Well, we're going to do it again. We did an 8-hour class each day. We had vendors that come in. We had medical equipment people that come in and say, this is what you can get. We had hospice clients comes in and say, hey, you work with hospice. No, this is what you're up to. So we did that before. We did it for like $2,500 a company. That $2,500 that includes your hotel room as well, and food. So I believe it'll be next year because it's getting towards the last game of the quarter here. So I'm not going to do it again because I'm already busy right now with the other
Yeah.
company.
Great. No, that's really cool. I'm sure that's super valuable. All right. Any other questions from the crowd here? Yes. Here, I'll Tony00488 @gmail.com. This is Tony's email. All right. Well, Tony, I know you're off to meet with the facility at 1. So if there's
Yes,
no other
yes.
questions, let's wrap it up and you can get there on time.
He said, what about a contract?
There's a question about templates. But guys, if you want to unmute and ask Tony your question, feel free if that's easier.
You're welcome, Ms. Marsha. I saw something about what about contracts. I didn't, it popped up and disappeared.
Oh, the contract proposal templates. Maybe like, do you have any templates people could buy from you, or do you recommend anywhere they go to get them?
Yes. I have a generic contract that I use for facilities. It doesn't have a name on it. All you do is insert your name. You can copy on Chat BGT, what do they call that? And it's copy and paste and put your name up there, your name of your company.
Oh, nice. Is that like, do you make that available for free? Do people buy that from you?
They buy it from us, yes. I already have it with all the verbiage, the right verbiage that you would need, and you just insert your name of your company, and that's it.
Got it. That's good stuff. All right. Well, thanks again, Tony, and then thanks everyone for joining us.
No problem. You guys have a good day.